Good morning. Welcome to my second tutorial I'm doing. My first I'm doing a war board. I'm going to be using three pieces that I'm going to be gluing together. Right now I have them stuck together with some toothpicks just to get the alignment right. I'm going to separate them shortly. Take the PVA glue straight, run it between the joints, push them back in and let the toothpicks help keep them together. As well, I'm going to take the back part of this polystyrofoam and lay it across the joint and run some glue over the sides and let that glue down there as well. And with the second one, and what I'm going to do is some little rolling hills going across, and it's going to look quite well once it's flocked and well painted, flocked and shrubbery. So what I'm going to be using here for the first part of it is, these will be some of my materials for some higher sloping hills where artillery or the anti-machine gun or anti-tank machine guns can be set up. I will be making some craters in here as well, which I'll be using the X-Acto knife for doing that, as well as smoothing down the hills. And I'm going to be using the knife as well. I'll be using the PVA glue that you see there. Once again, once I'm ready for the flocking and painting stages, I have a bottle with two parts or two drops of dish soap to about just almost 3/4 full of a bottle of water. And what that does is when you're spraying your roads and preparing your flock, it helps break the water surface and allows the PVA water mix, when you spray it over and lock it in, to better seep in there and get in there evenly. And I've got a bottle of PVA, about half a bottle of this type of white PVA glue, which was a full bottle of water when I first started out. And I've got about a quarter of bottle of hairspray, small little ball of hairspray mixed in there to give it a tougher feel. And it helps lock it down much better when you're doing a war board compared to like a Christmas or Halloween village scene, or just, a diorama, war diorama, where you're never going to be moving it or not moving it too often and things are just going to be sitting there. This is going to be played with, so it's going to want to be locked down pretty good. So I find hairspray, which I'll probably add even more to now that I'm doing the board, works really well with the PVA glue. I picked that up on a railroad model tutorial, I believe it was. And I picked up the PVA water instead of using liquid cement from the terrain tutor, which he's got some awesome ideas for war boards and techniques and tips. So I suggest you go to his YouTube channel. That's the terrain tutor. So, and I'm going to start gluing, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. So, okay, it seems like I've got the areas I want for now done and glued down, tacked down with some toothpicks and weighed down for the bigger areas, and hopefully that'll help joint together instead of using bare glue the board. So it'll be one big old piece. I will end up coming down with my knife, an X-Acto knife, and bringing these down together into one smooth continuous hill. This will be just a little mounted hill, a little mound or so, uprising, some good cover coming around. This will kind of just be rolling in and out, blending into the scenery, some just rolling hills, and this will be the same concept. I'm going to have a road coming through, so I'll cut through here with that road and probably cross road it closer to the inside on the other side and make that a kind of objective game, get to the crossroad, or put a bridge or some type of thing in there, make that an objective for a game. Alright, we'll see you tomorrow when everything's dried and I'm ready to start cutting out. Hi. Basically what I did here is I took a piece like the middle, almost exactly the same, The right hand corner, well, would be my right shoulder, was a corner that I kind of just curved out and made into a rock scene that will end up on the corner piece of the hill, sloping down. The other one is going to be for a train to go through and will become an objective spot. I basically, if you take a look at this one right here, you see how plain it is. What I did is I took my knife, my drywall tool, and my sander, and I went through the whole area. On top, I used my drywall knife to get out all the bubbles, and same on the bottom to give it more of a rough look. And then I went in with my knife and I curved out a bunch of grooves to make it more realistic. I went around the back, since this table will be coming, board be coming off the table, and you'll be able to see around all the different areas. You can see how that one is done, and nicely done. This one here, I did the same concept, trying to get all the bubble look with the drywall knife. This one's going to be viewed from all sides as well. So I just kind of kept on working it with my regular knife, trying to get it more realistic, a little less looking like this. So as you can see, we went from a kind of very basic cutout look to something very much more like a mountain. And once this is painted and flocked, it's going to look really sharp. Thanks and bye. Alright, so what I'm doing is a little bit of craters here to give it a little more of a war look. So what I did here is I just took my X-Acto knife, as you can see here. I'll kind of do one right here. I just kind of made myself a decent size circle to work with. Doesn't need to be straight or even, just because we are going to be blasting on it. Blast zones are circular but not even. I just went underneath with my knife here and popped some of this off. Just kind of like this. Try to get it a little in, a little harder doing this with a phone in your hand. Scratched out some here. Just pull that out of the way. I just kind of went down and fanned the sides a bit, try to work down in here. See how you're starting to get a circle indentation coming. I'm not going too deep just because I've got like a 1-inch foam. But as you see, we're getting a pretty good crater. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come over here with my scrub pad. Try to give it a little more. Make this one a little larger of a blast. Alright, and then I will do some painting into that later, texturing more. See you later, bye. So I carved down the block I had similar to this one back here now, and I've kind of left it sloping as much as I can. I'm going to go over it later with kind of a proxy of some sort to fill up some of those holes and smooth it down. And I need to carve out in around here a bit more on this side and smooth in here where I'm going to actually make it look like a bridge supporting that going over on each side. And as I come around, you can see I've done a little bit of indentation and trying to smooth it down with my green scrub and make it as smooth as possible. And going over here with the camera is actually good because it shows you areas like this where I need to get better in for when I do my flocking and painting, so it's all smooth like a rolling hill going all the way around. So I'm pretty much got the look that I want here, minus doing a little detailed work in here as well, and doing the same thing, painting. And I'm going to make this look like broken rock edge, exposed earth, where the other side of the hill is on the war board. And pretty much on this side here, give you a little bit of a look now. I'm going to start it out as mountainous on this side, or kind of same concept as where the bridge is, exposed earth and rock, and bring this down quite a bit. As you can see, it's probably about an inch to an inch and a half up going down, and it's only going to be a few millimeters. Okay, I want to give just a bit of a scale of what I'm going for. As you see, this is going to be a pathway for a tank to go through. The hill's not too high, just enough for some cover. I'm leaving enough room on the top so you can actually place figurines down. These are 28 millimeters scale. OH I believe it is, or ON. OH I believe. And as you can see coming in over here, as I was just showing, I don't want this really too high. I'm only going to want it going up maybe to their elbow or belt line and midway up the tank, so it's actually quite exposed coming down. I just want to give it a little more hilly feature. I'm actually going to be breaking that up to just, you know, maybe rolling hills. This is where having a styrofoam cutting tool over a knife comes in really handy. You can do a nice wavy up down roll, which would have been also perfect for doing this right here, and would be excellent for doing this piece once I get coming down, so I can make this all one continuous piece, and the one in the back over there. So I'm going to get going and try to finish off the last of the detail on this, and then start on this part and tie it in, and then I can do a few more craters. As you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3 craters. I'd probably like to add a third or fourth and a fifth right here as well, and I'll show you how I do those in another tutorial. Thank you and goodbye. Hi there, welcome back to part 2 of my video series on doing a wargaming board. I didn't do too much of a video near the end of the painting scene, or I don't even think I did cover the painting scene in fact. So what I did is I took a brownish color that I liked for an undercoating, so painted it down all across the whole surface. Did a few dabbing around here with a spackle brush to get into the holes. I used the 3 paint color paint system, 1 to 1/16 on the brown and the yellow, and then I took a 1 to 32 parts of black and went in and pretty much got in all around some of these colors. I need to go back over with my light. I thought I'd have enough. I went into the riverbed, that way it's going to see through some of the brown, so for muddy banks on the side. I've got my craters covered with broken bits of styrofoam that I soaked in black, watered down black paint going around. And I made sure I used a spackle brush as good as I could to get into all the other places. Now what I did over here is I started to flock my surface down, and what I did is I used a earth fine turf earth, and I spread it out somewhat going around, and I'm just going to grab that right here and show you one little coating. First thing you want to do is make sure your surface is wet. So I just gave it a go already a few moments ago, so just give it a nice another color light. Be careful going around your areas that you've already created. What I like to do is I like to just go over, and I'll do this little section here. I don't go thick. I'm going to try to stay out of my water bed. I just want to go lightly around my crater rocks. I don't want to get too much into there with this color. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do going back over again. So I'm just getting this down a little bit here. I'm not going too heavy with it. I don't want it extremely heavy. I do want to try to tie this area back into the next section. I'm going to try to get nicely in on my corners here. Try not to go too close to your rock face where you're going to be going. I'm going to be doing more on that rock face soon. Just getting a light coating over here. This is all going to be mainly covered up with tracks, so I'm not too concerned with that. All right. So I got the first section down. I'm just going to lightly take my yellow grass coarse and try to this one just not like coming out for me nice and easy yet. I need to make a bigger rip in the top. I just want to get a little bit coming out here just to give it a little texture. Yeah, see, I just want a little bit on that. And I've already got a bag of my yellow on the go. It's not quite done yet before I go to my new bag. I'm just going to quickly go in the areas here, pull my camera back. In the areas that I sparsely went through with the brand or the first green or fine earth, I'm just going to go a little heavier in those areas. Let that water absorb it. Trying to stay out of my water bed. I'm going to go a little heavier on top here. I want to give it more of an aged dying grass scene coming up here. You'll see this tie in actually quite nicely. Oops. Went a little heavier than I generally would. And now I'm going to go and take, where's my yellow green? I forgot to grab one. Oh, so I've gone to the shaker, not the bag anymore. I'm all out of my bag. So I'm going to take my fine turf, and this bottle is my first time using the bottles, and I'm just loving it. So I'm going to just sprinkle it over here. I'm going to try to be as generous as I can to tie all these colors in. So as you see what the brown paint underneath here does, is it helps give more of an appearance of undergrowth, dirt on the dying areas. The reason I'm not doing my water bed right now with any water is any of this that does get in, I can at least cover up afterwards. It's a lot harder to cover when you're doing it with water already pre-applied. Just makes it so much rougher. I've learned that my first time doing a water scene first. As you can see, I'm just going gently near the ends. Now, let's tie this area in. So you can see it's nicely blending, so this is exactly what we want. And as you step back and take a look, you see it's a bit going in. So now that I've got that done, I'm going to go back over with my fine earth and just gently try to cover this in to give it less of a, more of a dirt pit look to it. And I like to go back over myself with the yellow grass a bit and give that a little wear and tear. Go back over this to so what I'm going to do, like on these craters that I kind of blended in, is I'm going to go back over once it's dry with some blackish gray paint, and I'm going to end up going in there. So this is how I do the first layer on here to give you an idea, and I'm going to go ahead now and finish this off. Bye. Alright, so I've got my whole board now flocked. Got some of the water in there and going to be letting it dry. What I did is I mixed some Copenhagen blue in with PVA glue, mixed it up nice and good for the color, and then I've poured it in to where I've cut out along here, and we'll let that dry and then go over it with some caulking gel. I'm going to come back and touch up on the back of the rocks here with some more yellow umber. Go over this rock face over here. Touch up the craters with some grayish brown going around to give some earth tone, so they look more craterish on the outsides. I think I'm happy with this rock face for the most part. I'm going to come in here and fix this one up a bit better, and I'm going to go over this with the yellow and brown. And pretty much then I will start doing the roads next. Once I get the roads done, then I will go, well actually I'll lay down the train track at the same time as I'm doing the roads, and then I will go around and do the shrubbery and foliage. So we will get going and moving on to the next stage. As you can see, I've put a bunch of toothpicks along the way. What I did is, this is going to be the inside of my roads in between, and this just gives me an easier idea of how to keep within the margins of where I'm going to want to go with my road. I'm not quite going to start yet because it's not quite dry, and once you add more water or PVA solution, it is going to reactivate the flock and it will start moving around and be just nasty. So until it's completely dry, I'm just going to wait a little bit longer. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm laying down some PVA glue, letting it soak in. Going to take some of my water and just give that a little bit of a generous coat to let the agent go in. Taking my dark ballast and lightly trying to go in between my toothpick area. I'm not worried too much if some of this over stuff kind of gets in on the side. That kind of gives a little more broken road look to it. So I'll tie this road part into here. I kind of forgot to bring over my brown, so I'm just going to stop this and come back with my brown. Okay, so I'm back with my brown. So I'm just going to lightly kind of tap it, sprinkle. I don't want too much coming out. There's not much. Whoa, that's a little more than I wanted. I'm going to just bring it kind of over, just enough to give it a broken up look. And then I'm going to go with one last color. Oops, sorry guys. Just going to take my little bit of a sand here. I'm going to try to touch it up a bit more on, just to break up the look. And then after I do that, I'm going to come back with my water, and should have took water and my just plain up water and dish soap mix and broke up the surface, spraying first. But what I'm doing here is I'm just locking it in with my PVA hairspray and water mixture, and this will get lighter as it dries. So, and I will be back after. Thank you. Good morning. Last night I got some of my bushes down, as you can see, and you'll notice from the last clip that I did. Now what I've done is I've decided I was extending out this board to give it some more room. And I've already prepped some of the painting. I need to go around the base side still. When I get home today, hopefully, I'm going through a bit of a cold here, I'll have the energy to come in and curve this down again into a big smooth rolling mountain, unlike this one that's got some rock covering exposed. This will be just one smooth piece coming down along like this, seamless, but much bigger. And I think I might be putting a small gravel road like I've added this morning around, coming between two buildings I plan on doing, and maybe going either around this end and around, or kind of coming up and sloping onto the hill around. I'm making my own roof buildings, and they will be going on the X's. I'll show a tutorial on how to do those. I'm still not the greatest, but I'm getting better at them. And yeah, so hopefully this will not take too much longer. I want to add a few more shrubbery over on this side, kind of like I did over here, but I'm probably going to make this more of a hedge field over in this section right there. Over here I need to add some more bush and shrubbery, and a little more maybe right in there above the crater. So it gives us a lot of cover going around like it does in here. You see my artillery hiding, advancing team with snipers, two scout teams hiding and behind a Sherman and a Matilda. T-34 along with a sniper on the hill, an advancing team, a bunker down team, and anti-tank machine gun. And this is why I left the hill here, so you actually had a way to pull that up realistically. Alright, so I'm going to head off for a while and we'll see you after. Alright, so I added in some more foliage and bushes, as you can see getting in there. I've got some bush coming over here. Also in this corner now, I put some higher brush and shrub over here, so it's a little harder to see around. Same in this area. Now you can see it's looking a lot more like a field and scene. This is one attempt at a tree I made just with a branch. I was already dead and I had no fear of dying even more on me. It didn't turn out too bad. I will be showing a tutorial on how to do wire trees shortly that I'm going to be adding to the boards. And as you see, the water, I've used a acrylic latex caulking type deal for that. So as you can see, it's coming along quite nicely. Alright, I finished doing everything I need for the board that's going to be static on it. I'm going to be doing a few trees and some little stalks of grass, which will be modular and can be moved around, taken off for gameplay that I don't want stuck on the board because they'll just flop around, fall, or pull when I'm moving it. I finished off my fields in the back over here. I left enough room for some men to walk through. Added in some shrubbery over here in the back, as well as over here I gave some more shrub over in this corner and along the crossroads. Up here I gave some more shrubbery, and this is, I'm going to add some trees in and some of my grass stalks I made. In between these two spots will be some houses that I'm going to be painting and prepping up soon. And right on the two corners here also will be a hotel and an apartment building. I've added my shrubs around the hill, kind of sealing off some areas that were still showing bare, I just couldn't get covered. Okay, this shows me I need to go back over a bit more in here tomorrow when it dries and give that another bit of coating overwards. So see how I just used that shrub to get in there, blend some different colors in to give it more texture. The whiteness will disappear on there, that's just the hairspray drying. As you can see over here, you don't have any of that whiteness any longer. I have used hairspray on this as well, and it is all gone. So you'll go from this kind of white looking frothiness to none. And then over along this way I added in some bushes here and just some bush underneath the train track to kind of give it a little more depth and not so easily viewed underneath. And I added some shrubs right in here, and I do want that exposed rock down there on the bottom because that's going to get the wear and tear of a train going by. And yeah, so I'm pretty much, I will let things dry for the next 24 to 48 hours. I will set up some pieces on the board and take another few pictures of a fully set up wargaming board for bolt action or any other type of miniature. And thank you very much for watching and following along. Goodbye. Good morning. I'm actually doing an extension again on the current war board I had going on. There's my semi-completed dice board for the second user for rolling. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking an old board I tried to do my first attempt on a wargaming board and fixing that up, and taking the old piece of my village, the first one I ever did, that I tried to mix in to make a second part of a war board, and I'm going over it and shaping it down. I did take some pictures earlier before starting, and you'll see some other videos with it in there, so I'll just kind of snag that part, snip it with fraps, and grab that and add it into this video. But pretty much you can see where I've cut down a lot of the parts, sand it down and to make a little more grooves, created some more hill that's familiar to the one over here. I'm going to take this piece off. I smooth the edges to mix in and down over on the side here. Oh, there's my dress shirt to run into the other board. And I'm currently, this is all popped up as the chair, currently making this fit in. It's going to be all modular. I'm going to make that water with a bridge coming from the top here, running across to this base, and another one coming down, and eventually going to have it as some houses coming down this area and make it an objective, like a town hall type objective. Going to add some houses in here as well and make this whole area either an objective piece or just a little gameplay on its own for like some tanks or something. But I still have to paint up and around. It looks really sick right now, as in not good, but in horrible sick. And I've got some broken pieces here that I need to glue back in today. Well, I'm at work and light at 6. I got some really good fast drying glue. And here's some of my bushes I was making. And I'm going to do a tutorial on those, though some of them I'm going to have to snip down shorter and not as tall. Alright, thank you, and we'll see you guys later. Welcome back. There's a reason I call myself the hasty terrain maker. That's because I'm hasty and impatient and don't like to wait around for long periods. So while I was having a cigarette and killing some time before having to get ready for work, I decided I was going to paint up where I could for now before running out of time, which I now have and need to get ready for work soon. But as you can see from the earlier video I had to now, I've covered up, scraped up a lot of area, covered up paint on the areas that won't come off. I've gone from looking horrible like this, and I'll be fixing these areas up to nicer looking like this. Alright, I'll be back in a few hours and working on some more. See you later. Hi there, welcome back. What I wanted to show here is the difference between learning how to flock and blend compared to just throwing it down and hoping for the best and not really knowing what you're doing. This was my first Christmas village board. So some of these bare spots are where some village items were along the way. So but as you can see, flocking maybe from far looks not too bad, but as you come close and you're going to be playing on it and you take a look, this is stuff that's actually, I haven't tried to get it come off. This is stuff that's just come off because of not knowing how to flock proper, compared to doing a piece like this where it looks much more realistic. And when I am going to be moving pieces across it, it's not pulling the items off per se, minus a little clump right here. But yeah, so this is going to be fixed up. I'm going to go over here. You'll see the difference probably tomorrow or the next day as I get to this area. I'm letting this dry. I'll be cutting out a piece right here to put in and probably do a little more carving around here to make it a little less manufactured looking and a little more realistic. I'll be cutting this 1-inch piece out, which will come up pretty much and cover the whole corners raised up, and be doing a wheat field where it's going to be lined up. You'll see in a picture I took. This will all be lined up in rows where retaining cement can walk through. And I did move this out of the way just because I was trying to make the comparisons, but I'll be covering that up and that'll be a little shallow, and coming through here, coming around will be a little water way. So, and I'm probably going to be, not probably, I will be coming onto this edge here, making this little pooled area. So I'll come out and carve it a little bit more and hide up where I've already painted over, and down and along here will be more water, but we'll be changing how I have that water and pulling a bunch of this stuff off. Alright, thanks. Bye. Good morning. So my paint is dried from last night. What I've done, and don't worry about seeing the white, is I've gone back over, now curved out the corners that I wanted for my display. And what I'm going to be doing is I'll be going over this area of the yellow umber, a brown sienna, and a black wash, 1 to 16th parts on the umber and sienna, 1 to 32 parts paint to water on the black. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a look, so I'll be going over that. I'll be going back over some of these areas here and highlighting them with those colors, and over here, and that'll tie it back in with the other piece that I'm working on. Alright, we'll see you in a bit. Alright, so as you can see, I got my first coat of my yellow umber going. I just kind of leopard spotted it going around here and along over here, and now I'm going to go over my brown before locking it in with the black. Alright, I'm back. I've got most of the painting done. I'm going to let it dry, see where I need to go over and give it some more highlight elsewhere. Still need to cut out a section for here. Still need to go in and fill around these holes to make it one seamless piece. Same with this section over here. Got this mountain area pretty much done. Actually, I forgot to go over this face, so I'll quickly do that. So I've got it pretty much done where I want. Here is just to let it dry. And I came across the water beds with some paint, and I did a few tone over here, and I'll come back with a wash after because my black is too thick and I can really see how thick, but it's also wet and should dry in better. So yeah, for fixing up a broken ore board or one that doesn't work too well and a old Christmas village, it's coming along a lot better than I would have expected it to. So this once again will be a water bed coming across here and into this empty space, which will be covered up. Alright, see you later.